Hello, future people, and welcome to Great Uncle John's weekly video log. This is week 44, Monday, November the 5th, 2018. In a way, my Trump-centric vlog has been building up to this episode all year. We are on the eve of the U.S. midterm elections. Tomorrow, Americans will decide if they are tired of their system of government and want to move towards an unaccountable authoritarian kleptocracy, or if they'll restore their great nation's chances with a sound democratic rebuke of Trump and his lies and treason. I am terrible at predicting elections. All the polls say the Democrats are going to take Congress, but not the Senate. If they take Congress, they will have the power to mess with Trump and get to the bottom of his crimes. If they do not take Congress, it will be business as usual for Trump as he lines his pockets of he and his associates. It will quite likely be the death of the United States as we know it, the leader of the democratic world. And that seems terribly dramatic, but in truth, it is dramatic. It's like a Stanley Cup final or a Super Bowl or something. I'm 54 and I've lived through a lot of elections and political hyperbole, and I protested in Parliament Hill when Reagan visited, and I opposed the concept of trickle-down wealth. I remember George Bush with his kinder, gentler machine gun hand. I like Clinton, although I'm a little embarrassed about that in retrospect. And our demonizing of George Bush seems almost quaint now. I mean, sure, Iraq was a war crime, but overall, he seems like he was a pretty good guy now. Certainly not an autocratic white nationalist. Obama, of course, will be remembered as one of the all-time great presidents, perhaps the last great president, perhaps the last president. Of course, in Canada, we've had our minor dramas, particularly the Trudeau epic, and then Lion Brian and Uncle Jean keeping us out of Iraq, then the long, dark Harper years. But Harper was an ideologue. I believe he thought the idea of small government and large debts would be good for Canada, just as the Liberals think big government and big debts will be good for Canada. But that's all politics, although the rhetoric has been kind of apocalyptic at times. I don't believe there has ever been an existential threat to Canada from our own government. Policies come and go that change the direction of social life, and more often than not, these policies are a reflection of how society has changed, and the politicians are giving people back what they want. In a sense, the Liberals have been the most consistently populist government over the years, always promising Canadians popular goodies, if not always delivering. And cults of personality have sprung up around various PMs, often reviled by the majority of the population, but always given the benefit of the doubt by the loyal base. But nothing much ever changes, and institutions stay the same, and politics pretty much stay the same. The legalization of pot has been promised for as long as I can remember, but Trudeau finally did it, and no matter what else you think of Boy Wonder, he delivered on what was really a populist promise. The people, not everyone, but a lot of people wanted to see that happen, and he did it. But down south, they have a different kind of populism, and you know all about this, future people, because depending on how far down the road you are, you can put this time into context. Perhaps it's all a Y2K-like fever dream and nothing happened after the midterm, and there was an anticlimactic end to Trump. Perhaps he steps down at the end of his 4 years, weighed down by the Mueller probe, and he's allowed to continue, and charges are brought against his associates and family, but not him, and I don't believe they would charge a sitting president, and he will be allowed to leave, having been president, or his sin will finally catch up with him like Dorian Gray, and his health will give out. That's one scenario I can imagine, future people, and stop laughing, please. I know you know how all of this ends, but we don't. It's still the night before. On the other hand, perhaps Americans have gone out to the polls in droves, and one of the loudest voices of the people ever heard in the midterms in the USA, and endorsed everything Trump stands for: the lies and racism, the graft and corruption, It's what they want. America should be a primarily white Christian homeland, isolated against the dirty outside world. Abortion will be severely limited, and there will be no more free ride for queers, and cops can crack heads and take payoffs like some kind of Al Capone movie. There probably will be international peace, because any expectation that a government won't beat and rape its people will be thrown out the window. It'll be more like a collection of cartels than countries. Putin is the godfather. He sets the moral example for this new world order. I'm too cynical to get worked up about progressive superstars on the horizon like Beto O'Rourke. I was deeply impressed by Oprah Winfrey's speech in support of a gubernatorial candidate in Georgia, but I don't think she'll run. I think she realizes that she'd get torn to shreds, like they all do. I think you have to be incredibly tough to run for office in the United States. I think there are progressive voices in America. I'm a progressive guy, obviously, and I've been reared on a vision of society moving forward towards betterment, towards more justice and human rights, and towards protecting the environment and reducing poverty, and towards a racism-free society, all idealistic goals that are frustratingly slow to happen sometimes, but something I could sense happening slowly but surely in my lifetime. Things are better now, not just materially, but societally, since even just the 1990s. Technology surely has had a lot to do with this, and in a sense, government is becoming less relevant to the economy and social change, usually trying to play catch-up with what's already happened. And politicians have a choice. They can harness people's hopes and dreams, or they can harness their fears. They could be forward-looking or stare angrily into the void, and that future, people, is where we are at tonight. You know all this. This is all laughable for you, I'm sure. Nothing even remotely like what I am describing probably happened. It's all a big nothing burger, business as usual. All I know is that here on November 5th, 2018, I may be enjoying my last evening of cautious optimism before the soul-crushing reality of how much trouble we are in comes crashing down. Because wherever the United States goes, Canada is sure to follow. Anyway, good luck to us all, future people, now and wherever you happen to be down the road. See you for the post-game results next week.